Okay, so we have a little bit of an important message about the May horoscopes. This is going to be the world's shortest, fastest horoscope ever. I'm working through a back injury right now, and I'm in a lot of pain. So I just don't have it in me to do a lot right now, and I'm completely backwards, distracted with my back stuff. So I apologize in advance. It's going to be a really fast horoscope. And hopefully I'll be okay by the end of the month, and they're not going to cut my back open, and we can get back to business. So bear with me. All right, so here we go. May in a nutshell. So the beginning of May starts out with that sun near Uranus. We got a whole bunch of stuff happening all at the same time. Saturn and the South Node are closing in orb to Pluto. Saturn and Pluto just went retrograde at the end of last month, so we're technically feeling it this first couple of weeks of May, and we're seeing it. You know, it's not been easy. And remember the whole analogy we used last month about cutting teeth, right? So there's just no way around it. There's nothing you can do to make it happen faster. There's nothing you can do to make it feel better. Like, we just have to kind of get through it, and we're there. So we're like there with that tooth crowning and cutting through the gum. Oh my God. Sorry. If I'm making faces, it's because my back is really hurting me. All right, so this month, for the most part, is actually going to be largely productive. I know it may not seem like that, but it actually is. And in terms of interpersonal relationships, for those of you who are single and looking, and for those of you who are in marriage relationships, and for anybody who's in a relationship or seeking to be in a relationship where there's a requirement of cooperation between the parties to get stuff done, like dance partners, this is going to be a very good month for getting in step with someone and really being able to move forward. Now, this isn't to say that things are without their conflict, but in terms of interpersonal relationships, we've got a lot of fertile ground here to make stuff happen. Jupiter and Neptune will be moving into tight square with each other again, both in rulership again, still, right? So optimism is still the order of the day, and we need to guard against over optimism and putting too many of our eggs in one basket, as it were. But if you can keep that under control, you should be okay. Also, just know that this month, everybody's spidey sense should be off the chain. So some people, their psychic radar is going to be really off the hook. And for some of you, just be maybe having more flashes of intuition than usual. This is also a month that is prone to excessive gambling. So for those of you who are gamblers, no, this is not the month to do it. Your willingness to take risks is going to far exceed your hunches, your common sense, and your good judgment. So don't do it. Just saying. Big wins are also possible, but if you already are a gambler by nature and you have gambling issues, this is not the month. This is not the month. And the same goes for people who do drugs or for people who drink, things to excess, things that bring us pleasure done to excess, will prove to be the ruination of you this month. So find something else to do. Literally find anything else to do. Now, what's key about this month is that we've got Saturn and South Node. Saturn is retrograde, conjuncting the South Node, and it's within orb. So it's pretty much conjunct Pluto in Capricorn. Now, Saturn retrograde and the South Node have the same energetic or elemental expression, and with Pluto, we've got some not nice stuff going on. So this particular combination of planets has a lot to do with structural change. One of the things that you're going to see and hear a lot of, especially with the Taurus emphasis with Uranus, is a lot of kicking up of the dust, because, well, that's just the way we've always done things. So the most important thing to understand is this month, all those things that were true and absolute and you could always count on, well, that's just the way things were always done. Well, it's always going to be there. Well, it's just a given. Those are the exact things that are most likely to become dissolute or dissolved, right? Literally just kind of dissolving, disintegrating right in front of you. So Saturn is very much about the structures of reality and the things we've always been able to count on as always being there, always, the truisms in life, right? It's always been there. We've always done things this way. Well, of course, it's just going to. Of course. That's Saturn. Saturn retrograde, of course, weakens these structures. Saturn with a retrograde with a South Node is like like a sinkhole underneath, just kind of opens up, just swallows it up, and makes this thing we always counted on is always going to be there, suddenly not there. With Pluto, what this means is that we've got a huge evolutionary process that's happening right now. So a lot of the things that are kicking up and going away need to go away. This is a time of sacrifices. So we can make gains in terms of moving forward in our lives, but these things will not come without sacrifice. The other thing that's very important about this particular combination of planets, and also with that Jupiter-Neptune square that's happening simultaneously, this month will play out a lot like the story of the Pied Piper of Hamlet. So if you're not familiar with the story, the town of Hamlet had a rat problem. They had rats everywhere, rats literally overrunning the town. So the mayor, in desperation, he didn't know what to do. He had heard about the Pied Piper, who offered a solution. Mr. Mayor, I will happily get these rats out of your city for X amount of gold. Okay. So if you're willing to pay me this gold, like this amount of gold, I'll get these rats out of your city for you, and you'll never have to worry about them again. Right. So the mayor said, yes, 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 please. You've got to get these rats out of here. So the Pied Piper, played his little tune on his flute, and he charmed the rats and charmed all the rats out of the town into the sea where they drowned. So they would never come back. So when the Pied Piper came back, he went to the mayor expecting payment. Well, the mayor decided that maybe he didn't need to pay him all that money. Well, after all, it wasn't that big a deal. You certainly looked very easy when you did it. So the mayor reneged on his agreement with the Pied Piper. Okay. And the Pied Piper said, I've done this work for you. I've kept my end of the agreement. You owe me payment for this. So if you're not going to pay me in gold, you're going to have to pay me another way, because payment is due. You have to pay the piper. So the mayor refused to pay him. So the Pied Piper then played his flute and charmed all the children in the town and led the children out to the sea where they drowned and never came back. Now, at that point, the mayor realized, oh my God, I've made a huge mistake. This was horrible. I should have never done this. But it was too late. So when people talk about paying the piper, like, this is what it is. So, and this month is very much the same story. So integrity and keeping up our end of agreements, acting with integrity, complete integrity is very, very important. Also flexibility, right? So try to be flexible, because remember, it's a Saturn retrograde South Node conjunction. So the more we're like, no, and very hardline, hard nose, this is just what we're going to do because this is what we do. Very militant kind of approaches to things. No, that's a recipe for disaster. You've got to be flexible. The most important thing with Saturn, South Node, Pluto, Capricorn, integrity. You have got to act with integrity in all your agreements, because debts are coming due for payment right now. So any old debts, karmically, emotionally, psychologically, socially, any contracts we've made, any agreements, all of these things, both on a very big meta spiritual level, as well as on a very small petty personal level, all of these things take on tremendous gravitas at this time. So we must act with the utmost integrity in what we do, and we must absolutely keep our focus on ethics, right? And the ethical value of our choices and decisions, because this is that kind of a month. And if you don't, the consequences will be just as severe as they were for the town of Hamlet when the mayor reneged on his agreement after he had made this agreement with the Pied Piper. So don't do it. All right. So with that said, the last thing I'm going to say, and then I'm getting off here because my back is not happy. I'm sorry. Keep an eye out for the week of May 15th to... All right, May 15th. May 15th to May 19th. That's a big week, and I'm not completely sure what's going on, but it's definitely a hot week, so I would keep an eye on it. Otherwise, the month is going to be what it is. So on a personal level, we should be okay. There's a lot of room for growth and productivity and getting stuff done and finding solutions if we're willing to be flexible. Okay, and some warnings about everybody on a karmic level. Payments are coming due. On a larger level, on a social global level, like this is a time of major structural change. So we're in the midst of major evolutionary change, and this means that some sacrifice is going to be necessary. What it also means is that the things that we used to be able to count on is always being there. Well, that's just the way it is. We've always done things this way. Well, what? But of course, the minute you hear yourself saying, but of course, it will, it was, it is, it's not. So the things that we used to consider absolute and never changing and always going to be there and completely reliable and consistent, those are the things that are dissolving as we speak. So we need to have a lot of flexibility because things are shifting and moving and making way for new forms and structures in terms of society and the tribe as a whole, not just your little individual tribe inside the bigger one. So it will be a trying time for sure. But this is a sneaky month. This is a very sneaky month because it will seem like such a small thing. Such a small thing. He's just a piper. He's just some random piper who wandered into town. I mean, after all, if I don't pay him, what's the big deal? He's just one person, right? So the most important thing is that it may seem like a small, petty thing that you think you're getting away with. The consequences are going to be huge because it's a huge slippery slope with that one little step. So keep that in mind if you're feeling like you need to be less than honorable. The other thing I'm going to give you, if you are a gambler, if you are a drinker, if you're a drug user, okay, this is not your month. So there's a tendency for everybody to be a little too excessive in their pleasures and a little too optimistic in their ability to recover from things. No, absolutely not. So if you're a drinker, a gambler, or a drug user, your ability to recover, no. Your 9 lives are going to get used up this month. It may have been used up before this month. So don't test it. Do not test it. And you may be a little more over optimistic in what you can handle or what you can risk than you should be. So your confidence and your risk taking and optimism is going to be a lot bigger than your common sense and your good judgment. For other people, this optimism may help buoy you and will certainly make your relationships a lot more pleasant. So your personal relationships should get a nice boost this month. So we're all going to find some really good quality, solid people in our lives to help lighten the burden, as it were. However, this doesn't take away from the fact that we're probably going to be a little more optimistic than we should be because we are trying to make great plans on shifting ground. Okay. So keep that in mind when you're making your big, vision boards and stuff like that. So that's it. I hope to try and get back before the end of the month to get a special report in here or there. Hopefully they won't have to cut my spine open to fix anything. And I apologize that this is short and fast. I'm talking, and I'm not giving you more. I apologize. But it is that kind of a month. So be well, take care of each other. I'll talk to you soon.